Football made simple. Become great at your craft by finding ways to make it simple for those around you. This is the Coaching 101 podcast hosted by Find a Way Productions with your co-hosts Daniel Chamberlain and Kenny Simpson.
What's up, coaches' wives? Right?
Hey.
Not Coach Simpson, and it's not Coach Chamberlain. It's a group of wives taking over the show today. The Takeover episode is all the spouses let loose on the mic. So this should be super fun. I'm Samantha Chamberlain. I'm the wife of Daniel Chamberlain, one of the co-hosts of the Coaching 101 podcast. So welcome to today's episode. I will let everyone else introduce themselves. As I said, I'm the wife of Coach Chamberlain. We have two adorable little boys that we, run around the stadium with and anxiously wait for the game to be over just so that they can take on the field themselves, which they did beautifully last Friday night. So we have chickens and goats and a PT clinic, and we do all the things. They started quad racing this year. He's probably talked about that. So we're all over the place all the time, and then you throw in football season. So life gets a little hectic. So we're going to talk about it. Jamie, if you want to introduce yourself, then we'll go around the room.
I'm Jamie, married to Kenny. We've been married for 24 years. I think we figured that out this morning in class. And we have 3 kids, and I do sports graphic design, and we have some property businesses that we run. And I try to juggle all the balls behind the scenes so he can do all the things he has to do. So we're busy. Everybody's busy. I've discovered everybody's busy. It's just a different kind of busy.
Yes.
Yeah. Jessica, go ahead. We'll just go in circle.
I am Jessica Collins. I'm Bo Collins' wife, and we have 3 kids. They are 14, 12, and almost 10. And so we are in multiple sports and the band and twirling. And so we are running around like crazy. I work at the local elementary school as in the special education room. And we have a side business where we clean some office buildings on the weekend. So just nonstop work and kids and staying busy.
Corinne, go ahead.
I am Corinne Stevens, and I'm married to my husband, Chris Stevens. We've been married for 26 years. He is the athletic director here at Emmanuel Schools up in Central California, and he's also head football coach for the JV team. And it's been really cool because he's coaching our son, so it's been a real special time. And we have triplets. We have 2 girls and 1 boy. They are 16. They just turned 16 in July. And they're doing all the things. So we're kind of the same with you, Jessica. My son's doing football. My one daughter does cheer, varsity cheer. And then my other daughter does JV volleyball. So we're very busy. And I, too, also work at the school. I am the student services and attendance clerk there in the district office. And it's so much fun. Love being around the kids. And I get to kind of keep an eye on my kiddos. But it's great. And then I get to see my husband every once in a while when he pops into the district office. So it's fun.
Awesome. Lindsay, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I am Lindsay Harvey. I am married to Adam Harvey. He is head football coach at Long Creek High School in New Braunfels, Texas. Semi-new gig for us. This is his 2nd year, and it's been a whirlwind, but we're having fun. We have 2 boys. I have a 16-year-old son, and he is my musical guy. He sings. He is in musical theater. He's very talented. We don't know where he got that from. And then we have a 13-year-old son who is little mini coach, and he is all sports all the time, whatever season it is. That's what he's wrapped up in. So we stay very busy as well. Although, Corinne, I feel like you win with triplets. I don't know if we can. But I work from home, which allows me in a tech sales company, which allows me to do a couple of other things, just being able to be a wife and mom and show up at the school when I need to help and assist and volunteer, which I love. And then I'm also working part-time at my son's theater company as their program coordinator. So that's really where my heart lies, is just serving the teens there and serving the families and kids there. But it doesn't pay the bills. So you know how that works.
That's awesome. Love those introductions. So in true 101 podcast fashion, we're going to have a quote of the week. And, that kind of got laid on me a couple minutes before this, but here we are. So it's one that is in my PT world a lot, but it's beliefs and expectations are the outcomes on which foundations are built. And I truly believe that. That was a Dr. Justin Dunaway quote. He is a physical therapist and a continuing ed teacher in the Institute of Clinical Excellence. He teaches a lot of the pain science classes and everything. So lots of research saying that what you believe and what your patients believe and what those expectations are play a true foundation in how those outcomes are going to present themselves. And right now I'm feeling that a lot with our second grader. I think his teacher got some information that said he had some rough days, and now that's in her head. So every little thing has been kind of nitpicked, and we're only 3 weeks into the school year. So that quote's very relevant to us right now. So beliefs and expectations are the foundations on which outcomes are built. So what you believe is probably what the outcome you might get is. So typically this is where we say Coach Simpson is going to share some other ways that coach can make things simple for his staff athletes. And Daniel does. And then some sponsorships go, and then he goes, claps again, and then it like cuts out on the podcast on live. It's going to continue going. He's commenting over here now. Show it for a minute. He showed me how I could even show it before, so I told you late. God doesn't give us more than you can handle. That's right.
Amen.
So true.
So then and now we're back live. Another ad that I will say, not really sponsored by us, but I have the mic, so I get to. I don't have a sponsorship, but I'll just say, in addition to our current sponsors, tonight's episode is brought to you by Adaptable Physical and Occupational Therapy, where healing isn't about going back, it's about adapting forward. There you have it. That's my sponsorship of the day. So, what are we here for? We are here because as a wife, we get a firsthand look at the effort and the hours that go into preparing for and then executing a football season. It's been really funny for me to watch from a couple of standpoints. My sister got married last year to a football coach, and we went and got our hair done this morning. Yes, on a Sunday. It was odd, but it's okay. And she's like, he was gone from like 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and they were watching film all day. And I was like, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And she's like, but he's home late every night. And I'm like, yep, it's football season. So it's just been kind of funny to see that come to life as far as like having a few years as a coach's wife under my belt and then watching a family member kind of go through it for the second year. But, it's still pretty new, and he's at a different school. So, of course, the setup's different and all of that. So another thing that really goes into coaching is beyond the hours is being able to check off so many things throughout your week. There's so many things that they are doing behind the scenes and leading up to football season. And I was telling the ladies before we went live that when I was in high school, I was a band, I was a cheerleader, had to balance out the two, and my dad dropped me off at band practice one time during the summer, and he stayed and watched for a little while or got there early. I don't remember which. It was 20 years ago, wildly enough. Afterwards, he's like, I had no idea how much work went into a halftime show, because of course that's what we were ramping up for. And so he just had so much more interest and respect for band members and musicians because of, you have to practice so much placement, and there's so many little details that go into making a halftime show seamless, as far as playing the music, memorizing the notes, like where your placement on the field is, how you're getting to the next placement on the field, how you're doing. Like, there's so many things that when you watch it just as a audience member, it doesn't look that complicated. It's just like, it's amazing. It looks cool. It sounds great. But you don't think about all the work that went in to make that one cohesive halftime show. And so I feel like now, being a coach's wife, I'm getting to see that from you have no idea how much work a coach is putting in to Friday night, or, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever they're doing. Any coach that is showing up is putting so much more work in than anyone in the stands could imagine if they don't have someone in their family that's a coach.
Mm-hmm.
If they have someone in the family that's a coach, they know, because there are missed events. There are like, where's so-and-so? Oh, he's at the field house. Where's so-and-so? He's in the coach's office, you know? So if you have a family member that's a coach, you understand. But if you don't, and you're up there yelling at the coaches, trust me, they don't need to hear it. And neither do the wives sitting next to you, because you have no idea how many hours are put into that behind the scenes. And so I just wanted to ask you guys, what are some things that you notice that your husband does behind the scenes that you know has to happen, or regarding football season, game nights, practice, whatever comes to mind for you? What are those behind the scenes things that people don't realize is going on to prepare for game night or for season?
Well, I think even like as my husband being athletic director, there's a lot of things that go on that we don't realize that this can't happen until this happens. And if someone says no to that, then this can't happen. And so just the logistics of the Friday Night Life event, right? You know, and I'm starting to see a lot of those specifics that are coming, you know, that happen just even as my husband being athletic director. But then you hear in the community, you know, people kind of just either complain or they're frustrated because X, Y, and Z didn't happen. But I know it's because there were some other significant things that happened and played a part in that. And people just don't realize that because, you know, there's rules and there's boundaries and things that happen and need to happen. And so they may not be happy with that, but I know that there's more to it than just, you know, no, just like a no or yes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like there's more to it behind the scenes. And I do see that my husband has to deal a lot with that. And then the preparation too is so much when, you know, they're in the season and they're, you know, it's the Sundays. As a matter of fact, he's sitting next to me right now and he's looking at film that people don't realize, you know, they're out enjoying their Sunday and my husband's at home and he's like, I got to do this. I got to, you know, put in the work for the week. So, yeah.
Yeah. So logistics play a big part of it. Like we don't think I think as wives or females in general, you can think of like a wedding or a party or like there's a lot of planning that goes into an event. And we don't always think of sporting events as an event in itself. And there's a lot of logistics that have to go into that. Well, someone has to be leading that ship and steering that and guiding that to happen so that it happens, like you said, in line with regulations and guidelines and expectations of what have to be done for that to happen safely and for everyone to be able to show up on time and all the things. So I think that's an awesome point.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I always think about too, I mean, there's the weekly planning for the game, and that takes, we all know, so much of their time and effort, right? But they're also, and I know not every state is like this, but in Texas, they're teaching the majority of the day. So they also have to be a teacher. That is actually their full-time job, right? They are paid as a teacher with a coaching stipend. So they teach all day long and then have to coach after school, before school, and on the weekends, right? And do all their stuff in their extra time. And so I think people don't understand that all the time. I think sometimes they think that that's just what they do all day long. I know for my husband, he doesn't teach, but he's essentially considered one of the admin on campus. And so he's constantly dealing with behavior issues and students that aren't there, or watching grades and, you know, trying to get a hold of kids so that they can be out on the field on Friday night, right? So there's just all these things I think that go into it outside of just the actual game plan, which, as we all know, does take a lot of planning and a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lindsay, I was going to say the same thing. Bo is a high school math teacher, and so he teaches 4 classes of math and coaches junior high and high school football. And so he's also got grading to do at home on top of game planning. So he's bringing home tests to grade and homework to grade, all that kind of stuff, and to plan all those things. The other thing I was going to say was it's the little things. He worked at one really small school in Arkansas, and they couldn't get people to clean the stands after the football games. And so the coaches had to stay after the games and clear the stands. Sometimes they would make the boys help depending on how late the game was. but they were cleaning the stands after the football games.
Oh, wow.
Jamie, I think you're muted. We lost Jamie. Hold on. I'll find my tech guy. Hear me now? Can we hear you? You were here earlier. Hold on. I'm going to mute myself for a second.
Yeah.
Well, while we get our tech guy, Jamie, don't lose that thought. That's also true for Oklahoma. So Oklahoma, you have to be a coach or a teacher and a coach typically. Head coach usually is like either in powerlifting or they have some other classes that aren't as book-based or one of the core classes. But for the most part, anyone that's not the head coach or AD is taking on your usual classes. And so that does play a big role. And I think they kind of touched on that on one of the recent episodes, is talking about how it's really hard sometimes to develop good coaches because they're having to focus on they basically have two different jobs throughout the year. So being able to be a good teacher, like you don't want to halfway do either job. And so being able to be really good at both becomes a big challenge in itself. Jamie disappeared.
Back. I see.
No, verbally. Audibly gone.
She's there now.
Are you there now?
I can.
You're here. She was
Okay.
gone. I swear. There's
just
going to be a
have to
whole
walk
thing. She'll be
around.
talking. There's gonna be we all
Well-
saw it happen.
The thing that I was going to add was not necessarily something that they do to prep for the week on a weekly basis, but I know, and I know y'all's husbands probably, there's plenty of times that a kid will show up at the door and need to talk because of something that's happened at home, or even if it's just with a girlfriend or a parent, or he gets an SOS phone call. We have it with our own kids, and then we also have it with the football kids that they ever find themselves in a situation that they know they shouldn't be and they want to get out of it. They have a little code that they can text or call, and Kenny will go or someone will go get them. And so just stuff like that happens in their daily lives and the actual lives of stuff that truly matters more than the game. But that goes in behind the scenes, and I don't think a lot of people really know that they truly do care that much, and they are taking care of your boys when maybe the parents aren't there or are raising themselves. We have a couple that are just raising themselves right now and need some advice. I used to call them deck talks because I'd look out on the back deck and he'd be out there with whoever and just having their time together. So that's important, and it takes a lot of extra time too.
Yeah, I think that role of counselor or guide, guide in life, mentor. One of Daniel's big mentors in life was one of the coaches he had, and we still talk to him, and we're always excited to go see him or to hear from him, whatever it may be. And so even if you have a good family life, sometimes you just need that other trusted adult to offload on. And I think coaches end up being that person a lot. So I love that Kenny does that, and that kids have that resource available to them and know that they can do that. My parents always gave me that out. They're like, if you ever need to use this as an excuse, you are welcome to. Mm-hmm. I actually told my mom that other day. I was like, Mom, if you need to use me or the kids as an excuse, like, oh, I can't, I got to watch my grandkids. I was like, I'm here for you. But it's just really nice to have that person in your life to be able to turn to in those times that maybe you don't, for whatever reason, you don't feel comfortable going to a parent, or if you don't have someone in your life that's there in that capacity. So coaches definitely fill that role. They probably see their coach more than anybody else because they're probably seeing them in the classroom and then seeing them at practice and then seeing them at the game. And, that's a lot of time with someone that can really shape who you are as a person. So I think that's an important aspect. And as wives, we can come alongside them and support that and be there for them. We've had our fair share of conversations with kids, and it's heartbreaking sometimes, but just being able to give them someone to vent to makes a big difference, and providing a meal here and there when we can or when they need it is a big thing. And I think Jessica's nodding her head like, yeah, food, please feed the kids.
I was going to say the money that coaches spend on the football players, We have bought cleats. We have bought groceries. I know right now all of the coaches on staff are having one of the boys mow their yard so that they can give him money without just handing it out. Because he's a worker and he wants to work and he needed help. And so all the coaches are pitching in to help him out.
Wow. That's cool.
That's awesome too. Like being able to find ways. I think it's Broken Arrow. There was someone when we lived in Broken Arrow that it might have been the soccer team, but regardless, they had the team raised money by cleaning gutters in the neighborhoods. Like that was their team fundraiser. And of course it was great. Like you got a service, but it taught them hard work. It raised money for their team. Like it just became that's a really good idea. So I that's cool that some of the coaches are doing that, Jessica. So kind of moving on to our next thing is the how of being a coach's wife, and how do you support your family and support your husband and make things happen. So how are things different in season for the family versus off season? And what tips for mitigating some of the season struggles as a family and helping the family thrive do you have?
I got to say, our philosophy has always been quality over quantity. And we constantly have to tell ourselves that, like, we don't have all the hours in the week that other families may have around the dinner table or whatnot. And so when we do have time together, we make it count, right? And so I just think we've kind of always tried to center ourselves around that. I know that when my boys were little, and even now, but when Adam would get home, he would be exhausted and he just wants to take a nap or needs to work on some more stuff. And he'd be like, nope, let's go throw the ball for a minute. Like he would just make that little bit of time before they went to bed count, and then he'd go back to work. I was just talking with some ladies that I do, like our community group ladies for church. And I specifically just said, we are kind of in the depths right now. And I think the one thing that I kind of just need prayer for this week is intentional time with my husband. We have just been passing ships. And so somehow we've got to find a way to connect during the week. Right. And so there are just those moments where we have to find the time, even if it means staying up a little bit later or, saying no to something else. I don't know. You've got to constantly be thinking, we've got to make that, got to make up for the lack of time we have with good time.
Lindsay, I don't know when that conversation was today, but have you been able to think of something or set a time aside this week to make that to where it's not just schedules passing each other?
We did. And it meant staying up later one night. And we actually, we have these two friends that were able to do the YouTube channel, and they're two young guys. We just adore them both, but they did their first, they called our game for us on the YouTube channel.
Nice.
And so we wanted to listen, and we got home from the game late. I waited. It was actually game night. Waited up for him. He got home, and we sat there and listened to their YouTube,
That's fun.
replay of the game. And I honestly, I was laying in bed and I kept falling asleep, but then like something funny would be said. So I'd kind of open my eyes back up and laugh. And we just laughed together. And yeah, I mean, it was still revolved around football, and he was watching film while also listening to them, tell the game. And it was a good time. We had a great time.
That's awesome. Did you guys have a win?
We did not have a win, but it was a really close one. We only lost by 3.
So it's kind of fun to watch again. I was going to say, if it was a win, you're like excited to watch it again. When it's a loss, it kind of hurts a little more, but a close one.
Except, of course, y'all know that, the husband's always like, we should have won it. We shouldn't have lost that one. We should have done that. We should have done that, and you're like, okay, it's over now. Just let's move on. But yeah.
There's a sweatshirt that says huddle and cuddle. Like the film Huddle. I need that. That's exactly what you did, except for YouTube.
Exactly.
Can you repeat the question?
Jamie, where have you been?
My answer was too good.
No.
Your answer is too good.
Your answer was too good. I think we just move on. No, I do think, and I've mentioned this before in our other podcast, that it does look different in whichever season of life you're in, how you support your family and how your family supports your husband. When our kids were little, I just considered it my job to keep them alive. And I was not as involved with the team as I am now, because it was just my job to keep the kids alive. And that's how I kept my sanity. And I probably did resent him being gone with football more than I do now, but I just couldn't do it as much. I mean, we were at all the games, but we didn't go, and we would cook a meal here and there, but not like now. So as your kids grow up and as your seasons of life changes, I think that your support changes. And now we're all just together, and we kind of all do it all together. And I do pick up more of the slack around the house just because he has gone more hours. But I think we just understand that it's not going to be like that forever. And our kids, luckily, two of them, well, one of them's in college, but the other one drives. That helps tremendously with the, going and picking up with the others. And so I don't know if that answers the question, but I think it depends on what season of life you're in, how your roles look, and how the support looks for the family and all that.
Yeah, we worked really hard to teach our kids Dad's gone for a reason. Like, he's not just choosing to be away. He's not, working extra hours for the fun of it. So I always made sure, like, we went to almost every game unless it was raining. We stayed after so they could be on the field. They could ride in the gator so that they could see where Dad is and see the kids that he's working for and talk to them about, why is Dad gone all the time? Why is he late? And when I stayed home for the first 8 years of my kid's life until the last one went to kindergarten. And so I kept them up late because we could sleep in the morning. So they got to stay home or stay up until Dad got home from work, and we would eat dinner late so that Dad could eat with us. And those things of, like you said, being intentional with our time and making sure that we spend as much quality time together.
Yeah, I think that it's just like what all of you were saying is that, and I kind of resound too with what you were saying, Jamie, about it changes, it evolved. It was the same kind of with Jessica, Jamie, and Lizzie, like all of you. When your kids are little, you kind of just keeping them alive. You're just trying to stay sane. So you take them to the games, you come home, and sometimes I would take them over to the practice just so that way they could see some, have some time with Chris, depending on what school he was at. Because when they were younger, he worked at a school that was like 45 minutes away. So it was really hard. And that was probably a tough time for us because he was so far away. But now, because we're all there at the school and we're all doing it, and Chris is coaching Kai, now it's like we watch Huddle together. It's because I'm watching my son. So he's watching it to kind of from a coach's standpoint, and I'm watching it as a mom going, oh, look at that play. And, so it's great. But I think like the key is just intentionality, because, when you're in the season, there really is no magical formula to have that quality time. So it's like whatever time you get, you just have to make the best of it. And I don't mean it to sound bad, but I guess what I'm saying is that, if we have a moment on a Sunday evening, then we'll sit outside in the deck when it gets a little bit cooler and we'll chit chat. Sometimes it's just Sunday morning before church, have a cup of coffee and we go through and talk about the week. And sometimes, which is also a blessing, is because we're on the same campus, I'll text him and be like, hey, can we do lunch? And then we sit in his office and he'll lock his door just so that way we don't get any interruptions. And then we can chat, sometimes if we have to talk about family matters or anything like that, we try to connect. But unfortunately for us at this time, I think it's just because it's so crazy. We don't have that, like, I would love to say like, oh, we have this special date that we go every, Friday or whatever. It doesn't work like that for us right now. Right now, it's just whatever little time we have, we try to make the best of it and be intentional. I do know that like what we do on the off season is we try to get away together, just him and I, after the football season. And that's just kind of our little like getaway, and after the season, just kind of, decompress and just enjoy some time. So we always try to do that. It just depends how we can do it. I don't know, but we always try to do that. And that's something that is intentional, and we try to do that.
Coaching clinic getaways. That's where it's at, right?
I love that idea of like going ahead and planning that though, like to have that to look forward to, like, okay, yes, it's hard right now, but I know in 8 more weeks, in 6 more weeks, like you just kind of count down towards, we're going to have some time to just breathe,
Mm-hmm.
But resounding, it takes being intentional is what I heard. Like, it's just more of being intentional. And I really like what Lindsay said about the quality of that intentional time together. Like maybe it doesn't have to be, you know, a full hour, but if you can get 20 minutes of just focusing on each other or focusing on the kids or, you know, playing outside, whatever it may be, it just sounds like as long as you can be intentional about that small amount of time that you have, it can make a world of difference for your week and probably your kids' week too. Like, oh, hey, you know, they didn't have a timer on to say, well, you only spent 10 minutes with me. Instead, they were focused on how much fun they were having with mom and dad, right? Like that's what they're focused on. Like my kids are little enough now, 10 minutes means nothing to them. We went to the game Friday night. It is a far drive for us right now. So they're like, it takes forever. And I'm like, it's 3 episodes or whatever, you know, like I have to put it in like movie time for them. And speaking of them, you guys all were talking about taking your kids and like, you just like nonchalantly mentioned taking them to the games. Like it was no big deal. I need to talk to you guys. Okay. It is not.
It's definitely a big deal.
Not that simple. This is not that simple.
But we've all survived.
Yeah, I've all survived, and it does give me some hope.
I had a bag that stayed in the car, and it was only stuff they saw on Friday nights. And so it was new and fresh. Or I'd go to the dollar store and get something new, a new puzzle or a new coloring or whatever, or just find a grassy area and let them run. But we were unless it rained, like you said, or it was icy or cold or something. We went to the games, and I was the same way. I got to stay at home, and so we would just sleep in the next day if we needed to. But yeah, I mean, it was just
need to highlight how nonchalant you all were about that, because that is not my experience of taking my kids to the game.
No.
Like, this Friday was the best one we had. The football game had their attention for the first 2 quarters. Like my oldest was asking questions about the game, like about rules and how things were going. I'm like, this is cool. All right. The youngest is just like the best cheerleader. He said, yay! Like, go Pirates! Like he was just all for it without any cueing. It was fantastic. But like I said, that's game 1 of the season. Like a lot different, deeper in. But no, like
do not believe that it was ever.
It is up and down. Like there is no just sitting in the stadium. We try to pick grass, or we didn't take. Jamie Simpson has a wonderful book. We're at a football game. It's so fun. There was a chance of rain, so we had umbrellas. So we did not take the book because we did not want it to get ruined. So I at least have another week of having them something new to do, or new for the season. But
Jamie, that's a great idea though, about having little items that they can play with that they, that are new. So that way it keeps their attention.
Like, oh, I forgot about that.
I don't know what it was with my kids, but they were hungry. It's like they had never eaten before. And like I starved them for the whole week. I had to pack like literally my whole pantry and refrigerator. They wanted all the snacks and all the drink, like all the time. They were just like, I just remember that, like having to take tons of food.
Yes, I have a bag and it says boy mom and important boy mom stuff, but then underneath it says mostly snacks. It is, yeah. So I have a bag and it was all snacks.
Yeah, please don't ever feel like, I mean, it was not easy. There were times where, no. But like Jessica said, we survived, and we have some great memories out of those times too. Like,
yeah, I definitely think it's worth the work and the memories, but I just could not gloss over how simple you guys it was just because it's just life. You just do it, you go and you wrestle the kids, and you keep apologizing to the guy in front of you that your son keeps kicking because he's wallowing over you and waist deep upside down into the snack bag, and like, it's just a whole thing. And so, it's just funny because I was like, hold up. Like, it is not.
And you know what, though, Sam, it's a good point to make, because I think that it is okay as moms to give ourselves the permission to say we're going to stay at home too. I mean, Chris and I had to have those conversations and be like, you know what, this is not a good week. It hasn't been a good week, or, you know what, I can't, I'm not going to deal with that today, and we're just going to stay home. And that's okay too. And I think that's important too, to talk about, and for wives to kind of give themselves that permission to be like, we're going to cheer from home. And we'll, and I remember I used to do that sometimes, and Chris was bummed because he didn't have anybody to hug after the game. Right. I mean, when it was like, when the kids were like 2, 3, 4, 5, like, when and sometimes they were sick, of course, and all those things that happen, but I would make sure I'd be up when he got home, so then we can chat about the game, and then I'd sit and, watch a little bit if he wanted to. Sometimes he was just exhausted and didn't want to, he would wait to do huddle like on Saturday or Sunday, but Yeah.
I love that because you're so right. Like there's some weeks that are just rough for everybody, or like the kids are having a rough week, whatever it may be, and they just need Friday to decompress and just not be in the hustle and bustle of it. We actually pulled over on the turnpike, the paid highway in Oklahoma, because we were having a fit about nothing, and I was like, we're not doing this. So we like pulled off the road and had to have a chat before we proceeded to go on, and I had to decide which direction we were actually going to continue going. But like I said, it was great, and apparently the chat worked because we had a great evening, you know. But they look forward to that. Like Jessica brought up again, like they look forward to being able to run on the field and see all the players and run to daddy and just be kind of a part of it. Like it makes them feel like it's worth all the time away and all the focus that is not on them sometimes during the season. So very cool.
Say, one of the biggest things about taking the kids to school or to the games was I sat with the other coaches' wives as much as possible. And the ones that were older that had, like us now, that have grown kids or teenage kids, I don't mind at all to help somebody with their littles because I'm not stressed out at the game. So I don't mind helping somebody with their 2-year-old anymore. So having those mentor coaches' wives that were able to help me with my kids and, pick up the toy that got thrown or keep them from running off the end of the bleachers. We would like sit them in between us or something so that they could run back and forth.
Yeah. And we've got some young kids on our staff, actually a couple of brand new babies. And, the other wives will always say like, I'm so sorry they're bothering. And I'm like, they are not bothering me. Like, girl, I've been there. Like I have had a little 2-year-old at my side at this game. Like I get it. Like, let me play with them for a minute. Right. You enjoy the game. I mean, so I remember I was the same, like, sorry, don't mind him. And they're like, people are like, no, he's cute. So just don't. I mean, I think as young moms, we just have to realize like our kids aren't annoying everybody. I mean, they really aren't, like now as not a young mom, I'm like, please, can I have that 2-year-old sit in my lap for a minute? I miss that.
Jessica, I need Bo and Daniel to coach together again because we could use all the help over here.
And now my girls are old enough they could watch your.
They could. Play. It'd be great. It'd be great. All right. Here's the big ticket item. Are you ready? If you could shout one thing to the general public about coaches, what would it be? I'll start the Jeopardy music.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have to go back to the fact that they give so much of their own personal time and sacrifice so much time, even from their own families and their own kids, to help those football boys and to help their families. I mean, like Jamie was saying, like there's been late phone calls and, calls during the summer, like, so-and-so's parents, they're divorcing, like he's struggling. Like, there's just lots of different situations that they have to step in and support. And unfortunately, there's sometimes late night trips to the ER because a kid got, hurt at the game and they want to go check on them. I just think that that's probably the thing that just, as a wife, melts me the most. And yes, sometimes I'm annoyed because I'm like, you just got home, put your phone down. But I love his heart behind, this is so much bigger than a game on Friday night, right? This is so much bigger than what happens on the field. These are real lives, real human beings, real developing young men, right? And so, I don't know. I think that's the thing I would continue to shout, that it's just so much more than just a football game.
Mm-hmm. I think one that I would like to say would be that our husbands are humans. Coaches are humans, and they make mistakes too. And so,
or they can't predict the future, not even mistakes, but like they can't predict the future.
That's right. And so sometimes the calls they make or, the decisions that they make may not be the perfect ones, but that's what they decided to do in that moment and at that time. And so,
and it probably made sense for all the film they watched. But they can't predict the future. And so maybe the other team had a play they weren't expecting. There's so many more things that go into it, right? Like, I love that one. Yeah. They're human.
And I've actually asked, I've said, why did you call that? Like, why would you have done that? And he's like, babe, we could not get past so-and-so, their defense, their whatever. Like, we could not. If I would have called what we should have called, whatever, right? He was like, all night. We couldn't get past that guy. He was stopping us every time. I had to do something different. I'm like, okay, fair. You know more than I do.
Don't tell him that.
Something neat that we heard about at one of the AFCA and AFCWA meetings, one of the coaches' wives suggested, because I think what I would say to people is they do have a plan. Obviously, they care about your kids, but they do have a plan. Like right now, he's been there since noon, and it's 7:30 almost, and they're planning, and they're trying to use all of the things that they know how to make a game plan for your kids, but someone said at the AFCWA thing, she said what they started doing, because they were having a bunch of issues in the community of bleacher coaches thinking they know it all and whatever. And so their coach brought them in on Friday mornings, like all the dads that wanted to come, and kind of had coffee and breakfast and watched film. And they were like, hey, guys, and kind of made them feel a part of it and said, this is our plan for this week. We've got to keep an eye out for this guy. And look, and they would even take time to brag and look at this film. Your kid last week did really great blocking, but this week we're going to ask him to have to block this bigger guy. And they made which that takes so much time, like more time that our husbands don't have. But this coach's wife, she said that it really involved the community. It made those dads kind of feel a part of it. And then that night at the game, they were like, oh yeah, well they were and then they felt important. And she said it really was great for their community and for the morale, and they kind of shut their mouths a little bit. So I would yell at people, there is a plan, and you may not know what it is, but just trust. Kind of like what we tell our kids. We're not just saying no to be mean. We always have a reason behind it. I'm just not going to explain it every single time.
I love that. I can see how that would be a really cool program to have in place. But yeah, that'd be so much time, and nobody also are risking having those certain people in the room that are still going to try to be the know-it-alls. But I think for the most part, that would be really cool to let people have an inside look, maybe even just twice a year, twice a season or something, 2 or 3 times, maybe not every weekend to go over film, but just kind of letting them in on the process. It'd be kind of cool.
One of my favorite things that I've seen my husband do, and I love him, but sometimes he gets a little cocky in what he knows, and right, he knows his stuff. He's put in the time and the effort to study it, right? But he had a dad at one point that was kind of just, why are you, blah, 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 blah. I want to talk to you because you don't know what you're doing, basically. And so he said, my door's open, come on in. And so he invited him in. He opened up a dry erase marker and said, hey, draw me up. Okay, I'm not even going to try to say something. Draw me up, yada, 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 right? And the dad's like, I don't know what that is. And so it was just just trust that I know what I'm doing, right? So
Lindsay, it's funny that you said it that way, because a few minutes ago Daniel put this comment up. How much X's and O's do you all really know? That is not what this episode is about, sir. So we're not going to answer that question right now. But here's the deal. I have a feeling we know more than we probably should. Okay.
We know more than some of the dads in the stands, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
true.
I edit Kenny's book. I know way too much.
And we had a dad in the stands the other day. The game was almost over. We were winning by 1 point, and we started running the ball to slow the clock, or to keep the clock running. And he's like, we're not running. Why aren't you passing? And I'm like, because the time stops when you throw it.
Minor detail, Jessica. Minor detail. What does that even mean? Oh, goodness. Jessica, anything you'd want to shout from the rooftops?
Probably that the coaches' families are probably sitting beside you. Or at least they can hear you. The little kids, they can hear you talk about their dad. My kids have said, why is that guy so mad at daddy? And little kids should not have to hear that. It's okay to disagree, but the coaches' families are around too. We're probably the biggest cheerleaders for the entire team. We don't just care about one kid or the other. We care about all of them.
Yeah, we're at a school that we're not, it's not in our community. It's not a school that we get to be a part of because it is so far away. And I almost lost my voice Friday night. It was a very close game. It was the big rival. You just get involved in it. It's just one of those things. You can't help it because you know how much work went into preparing for that dang football game. So it's just one of those things that, I wish all of these have been so accurate. I love them all. Here's a fun one. We get to tell the husbands what to do better. So what can coaches do to better prepare themselves and their families in season or for the season? Everyone's like, I don't want to touch it.
Not it.
So I'll say something Daniel did pretty cool this year, talking about intentionality. That's a hard word to say. The couple weeks before football season really got into throes. So, of course, before the first couple of weeks of practice and scrimmages and all that. So, basically still into summer. He planned 2 date nights, like, within 2 weeks, like a week, 1 week, and one another week. Like, got the babysitter, made reservations, had a plan, like, intentionally had date night ramped up for us 2 weeks in a row because he knew that going into football season, that probably wasn't going to be like, we weren't going to have that time space available. It'd be more like the 20 minutes here and there thing or the watching film together or whatever it may be. But that was really cool. And it felt good. And I felt better about going into the season. I'll say too, that the kids being a little bit older and not stressing about, getting school, like just have a second grader and one that is still in daycare. And so not having to stress about being in a new building, like he's still in the same elementary, like some of those things were a lot less stressful this year. So just everything felt a little better, but I have no doubt that having a little bit of really planned time together before we got into the craziness of back to school and back to season was really nice.
My 2 things have always with Adam is, and he's really good at this, but he will find ways to help throughout the week. So like he's typically the guy who will go pick up our groceries. I'll order him what we need and he'll go pick it up for me. Lets me sleep in a little later on Sunday morning while he goes and picks it up. Like he will find little ways to, or like today I came home from my son and I had to work nursery at church and we came home after church and he'd unloaded and loaded the dishwasher before he left. Like he will find little ways to just help out where he can. And that is so helpful it seems like something small, but it is so helpful. And my other thing has always just kind of been like, just respond to my text because I don't like the no response, And so like early on in our marriage, like I get that you're busy but just like a quick text back, like I read it, thanks, got it. Or, send a kissy emoji. I don't know, just something so that I know that 1, you're still alive.
You're functional.
2, like just so that I know that I can reach you if I need to. Right. And so I think those have kind of always been my 2 big ones that Adam does a really good job with.
That's awesome. Did we lose Jamie again? He's going to think I'm crazy.
What?
Are you back? Hold on. Talk. Nope. You just sit there. Someone else gets to talk.
What about now?
Yay, you're back.
It's connected to my phone for whatever reason. I was just going to say, Kenny's always been good about being intentional too. He'll plan right before the season, hit something, a big trip or whatever. And then during the season. But a thing that I would ask, and I have asked, and he's gotten really much better about is his phone. Because, he is busy and he's on that phone a lot. And so if I'm trying to talk to him or if he hears my voice start talking, I'm like, can you just look up, or if I say, hey, right here, look, and just put the phone down and have a time limit, or that's just one thing that I would ask for him to do is, after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you don't really need to be responding to text, but I get it. If he doesn't do it then, he's not going to have time to do it during the day. But he's good too about seeing things that need to be done and picking up. And I've noticed too, when he does that, it makes me not feel as naggy about, and then he'll want to come home to a happy home.
Yeah, one thing Bo's really good at is over the summer, we do all of the home things, get the home completely caught up clean, the laundry caught up, the everything, the garage cleaned out, so that when we do start season, everything's prepped and ready to go, and we're not still playing catch up come August. So he's really good at being, again, intentional about making those things happen for us.
Okay, I'm so sorry. What was the question? Because my son and my husband were talking.
You're okay.
I'll tell them, be quiet.
What can coaches do to better prepare themselves and their families for the season?
Yes. What does my husband do? Let's see. He kind of he does that too. Like he'll try to tackle those things on the off season that he knows, oh, I need to kind of spend like a honey-do list. He'll try to do those things on the off season. Although with being athletic director, coincidentally, it's so funny. Our fall is a little bit more low key. Winter and spring is
Not as many
crazy
games, yeah.
because of basketball and baseball, and there are multiple games a week. It's crazy. So he does that. Like I said, we do like to try to make sure we have that time together, just he and I, after the football season. Maybe go away or do something together. And then during our dead period in the summer, he needs to get away. So we do some kind of vacation, even if it's like if money's tight that summer or that year, we try to get away and do something as a family. He needs to kind of be away from the home and just kind of do something with us and be together as a family. So I know that, I don't know.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that really matters. Is again, it's kind of the same theme of quality and being intentional. And if they know that the honey-do list is not going to be their priority list come season. Like you said, for an AD, that's a lot. That may look a lot different, just because there are other sports that have so many games. So that athletic director life, I bet, is another whole nother story in and of itself. So bravo to you guys, because I can't. That's a lot. That's a lot.
No off season there.
No off season. So I would say definitely keep being intentional about that summer, get away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie, I'm going to tell you to shout at Daniel often about the phone situation.
I'll talk to Daniel. You talk to Kenny.
Sounds great. Sounds good. Because if we could just put the phones down, then that'd be great. I've threatened to get a lockbox and buy a house phone, so if anyone actually needs us, they can call the house phone if they need to. For us and the kids, they don't need to be on cell phones, so we'll just have really considering getting a house phone. Bringing back the landlines. Okay, I have one more fun one, and then if anyone else has anything that they want to ask or talk about, we can get into it. But things you love about watching him coach. There's several things while you guys think that I admire about Daniel and see in his coaching often. And a lot of it's his kind of just characteristics of who he is as a person. And it's the respect he has for everybody. Those troubled kids, if you will, or the ones that don't have the best home life or have maybe made some decisions that are outside of what they should be doing. They tend to gravitate towards him. And I truly believe it's because he treats everyone with respect. And it's not he you can usually tell which kid is which pretty quick as far as where they fall in the popularity contest or who knows what about whatever. But he just treats everyone with respect. And sometimes coaches tend to dog on the kids that they know aren't good or push them in a different way or yell at them more or whatever it may be. And with Daniel, you're going to get the same coaching across the board. When you need coached up, you're going to get coached up. And when you're doing good, you're going to get applauded for it. And, there's all the in between, but your performance is going to be what dictates how you're being coached that moment, and I really value that. And then his kindness kind of goes in hand with that. He's just a kind human being, and he wants the best for the students that he has the opportunity to coach, and that comes across in those conversations, and it stems from respect and it stems from kindness. So getting to see him convey that to them and be an example for young men has been really cool, and I just appreciate that about him. The other thing is watching him break down film. It sounds like the most boring part about being a wife, but the way his brain works, he goes through it so quick. And I know Huddle and some of the other services or software that they have does some of it and cuts up the plays or whatever. But the patterns he picks up on, which is probably why he's in an analyst role right now where he's at, but the patterns he picks up on and how quick he picks it up. I tell him all the time, not everyone can do that. that's not something that people can just do. Like that's a skill, and you do it fast. Like, it's not like, yes, he spends a lot of time on it, but he doesn't spend as much time as what I think it would take other coaches. So like, he usually ends up taking other, whether it's special teams or offensive line, or, he'll take something away from other coaches and like kind of give them information about what he saw, because he can just do it so fast. And so just watching him be able to do that is just super cool. Like, it's just seeing him thrive and put a skill set to use that. Again, I just don't think everyone can look like, I'm staring at it. I've watched it with him. I get what's going on, but then he starts saying, okay, well, they're running this amount of times and they're doing this. It's like counting cards in poker or something. I'm like, how do you already have all this like figured out in your brain? And he's just like, because I just watched it. And I'm like, yeah, me too. So it's just really cool.
I think it's cool to see my husband be very, like, he's intense out there, but he's not like a yeller or anything like that. He's very much, he's a student of the game, but he's also a teacher of the game too. He loves to learn. He loves to break down film, which I just have so much respect for him and seeing him do that. But then when he's out there coaching the boys, even my son, he is teaching them. He's not like yelling at them. He'll look at them and you can see, like, if it's a real intense moment, you can see it in his eyes, but he's always calm, collected, and always just smooth. So I always say my husband's just like this. I'm like this all the time, but he is just always just calm, cool, collected. He can, doesn't matter if we're losing by 100 points or if we're winning by 1 point or, for winning by 100 points. He's just the same. And I think that speaks a lot to him and his personality and just the example that he shows the boys, because he's, like I said, he doesn't really yell at them. He doesn't get mad at them. He doesn't ever grab their helmet or anything, but he's teaching them, and he's constantly just like controlled. And I think the boys see that, and that's it to them, So I love seeing that and watching him.
That's awesome. I think every team needs that coach. It's funny because one of my favorites about him, like the last few years, he's been in the box, so I don't get to see this, but you saying that reminded me of watching him on the sidelines. He's not amped up in like a negative way, but like if they're doing something good, he is running, like sprinting down the sidelines. Like, he has a lot of energy, and it was one of my favorite things about watching him coach when he's on the sidelines, is just like he would get just as excited as the boys with them, and I think they liked that too. But there always had to be the coach that was like the steady, like you need that steady state coach there too to like keep it even killed there. But that's awesome.
Yeah. I think mine is just, he does such a good job in building relationship with the kids that he can yell at them on Friday night. Right. And it doesn't break any relationships. As a matter of fact, I feel like it builds it stronger.
He cares. Like, he wanted me to do that.
Yes. And I think they know that. Like, they know that he's on me because he loves me and cares about me and wants me to be better. Not
trying
just
to convey that message quick. Like, I don't have time to be sentimental right now. Like,
yeah. And we, we've got relationships with kids that have long since graduated, that now have kids of their own, and we meet up with them on occasion. And just the respect that I still see in their eyes for him, looking to him now that they're fathers, and that just always like that just kind of melts my heart. And that's probably my favorite. I mean, I will always give a good shout out for a headset and a backwards hat, and the play sheet in the back pocket. Like, it looks good on him, but I don't know. It's that kind of stuff that just like, it's great to see, when he jumps up and, chest bumps a guy coming off the field after a good tackle or whatever, like that just kind of stuff. That's my favorite part.
The backwards hat had to get brought up.
Scott,
For you, Daniel.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said something, because I was going to say something, but I didn't want to be like, coaches' wives after dark. I'm like, well, it does look good out there. So I was trying to keep it very.
I mean, we can take it there.
They look good in their khakis. We can't deny it, right?
Well, I was trying to narrow it down, but I truly believe coaching is one of Kenny's gifts that he's been given. He's very talented with it. He's very creative with it. He cares about the kids. I think he holds them accountable. He can yell at them, but they know that he's just doing it so they'll be better. But then he stands up for them. He's ferocious and fierce in standing up for them if somebody else were to try to come at them. And, whether that's wanting the best for them and going to the admin for something, or, if somebody else is just being silly and being mean to the boys, he's not going to allow that. But I truly think that, being smart and being able to figure out stuff, he can wrap his head around things and change things so quickly and adjust. And it just blows my mind. And sometimes there'll be a play or something will happen amazing, and we'll see, well, what was that play? I don't recognize that. And one of our coaches, Coach Bo, he'll say, well, that was Simpson draw in the sand. And they'll come up with it on the fly, and it works. And that's just, it's his gift, and it's fun to watch him excel at his gift, and it's natural for him. And yes, the backwards hat.
The backwards hat.
Mess with that backwards hat.
Is it unanimous? The backwards hat is like in, right? Like, yeah. Because I know some people are like
with the headset
in high school, the backwards hat or whatever. Like I had someone comment about that. I'm like, well, it has its place. Okay.
I also had this Friday, it wasn't Friday. We played on Thursday this week, but on game night, I was walking onto the field after the game, and the band booster president stopped me, and she said, "Your husband gets brownie points tonight." And I was like, "Oh, why?" And I was actually late to kick off, so I missed the very beginning. But she said when they first came out, he had all the football players go over to the band and like cheer for the band and like give the band a shout out, like thanks for being here and encouraging them.
That's
and
awesome.
she was like, "Your husband just does things so differently than so many other coaches." And she was like, it shows what he's teaching these boys. And I was like, I was a puddle. I was like, that is so cool. Like, yeah. So I just thought about that one as you were talking.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So mine is the selflessness, the giving so freely of the time. We are one of the closest coaches that live close to the school. So he's one of the first up there on Saturday morning to change the laundry over. Because he knows, everybody else has got to drive 20, 30 minutes, and we're just 5 minutes away. But he's up there 2 or 3, 4 times on a Saturday or a Sunday, changing laundry over. And the other coaches do too. I'm not saying they don't come up and do it, but the extra time, he's one of the last ones to come and see us on the sideline because he's putting away the stuff over here. And I'm over there going, okay, like it's late. Can we? But he's selfless, and he thinks of other things that need to be done first, and tries to get those things done and then come over and see us.
He knows you'll be there.
Exactly. I'm not going anywhere.
It's not to disrespect you. It's just he knows.
Right. Yeah. No, if
solid.
he were standing around talking, I would be
Right, like, okay.
But he's not. He's working.
He's doing stuff. Lindsay, what you were saying reminded me. We were at a big school a few years ago, and it was wild how many parents would come up because he was teaching or coaching freshmen and on varsity. And so we were at the football field 2 or 3 nights a week because they had a Monday night game, a Tuesday night game, and then Friday night. And so we did not go to all of them, but we went to probably more than I should have drugged the kids to. But there were several parents during that time that would stop us in the parking lot and just tell us like what a good job he was doing. My kid was about to quit football because with that freshman team, that's a pretty big year for them as far as like, am I going to stick with football or am I going to go do something else in high school? And it was really cool because it was parents that you wouldn't have expected to wait to talk to you or to speak up about a compliment because everyone's real quick to. You want to cover your ears what they have to say, but there's not, which we haven't had much of that luckily, but it's just one of those things that to take their time out and see us walk in the parking lot and say, hey, I want to just let you know you've done a really good job with my kid, and that makes a big difference too, and they love those compliments. So if you have a kid on a team and you feel like their coach is making a difference, let them know because that never gets old and helps in those hard moments when things aren't going the way you want them to. So send your coaches emails. This is the public service announcement of the day is if there's a coach making a difference in your child's life, then please let them know that they're doing a good job. It doesn't have to be lengthy and super sentimental, but just a, hey man, you're doing a good job or hey lady, you're doing a good job, whatever. It goes a long way. Jamie, I'm going to ask you, I know you do this, and ladies, you might do it as well, but I know that you have team dinners and several coaches' wives do that. Logistically, how does that happen? Because a football team is not small and those boys are hungry. So how do you manage to have team dinners?
It's evolved over the years for sure, but it started
I saw
out
your
with
crock pots the Friday. I was like, okay, well, there's 3 crock pots. Is that enough?
Well, that was just for the family, the coaches and their families.
Oh, okay.
They come over after the home games. No, so it just started out with the O-line. They were coming over for pancakes, the kids that got the pancakes and whatever, they got to come. So it just started out with the pancake dinner, and I would kind of stir up some eggs or whatever. Well, then it got bigger and bigger, and then all of them started coming. So I've turned my scrambled eggs into like casseroles, and then hash brown casseroles or tater tot casseroles. So you just make triple and quadruple the amounts that you have to have, and then I try to make different stuff every time they come, but they want that same breakfast meal, which is easy. I mean, it's good, it goes a long way, but it doesn't matter. They will eat it every week. They want that breakfast meal every week, and so we just have tons of pancakes and tater tot casserole and all that, but soups and sliders, and you just have to make a ton of it. But and honestly, we try to do all of them, a couple times, but then our OC, he'll take, the smaller groups. So it's not just with the whole team sometimes. But yeah, we try to do as much as possible and have them over and pizza and the pool and just have a good time, play games.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Anything else anyone want to add? No, closing it out, saying goodbye already. That was a fun hour.
Yes, it was. It went fast.
It did go fast. If you guys are on social media and want to shout out where you're at or what you have going on or any podcasts, like if you don't have your own social media presence or podcast or anything like that, feel free to tell us what your favorite podcast is, your favorite wife resource might be. I'll go first just so you guys can have a second to think. I am SamCDPT on Instagram or adaptable.pt on Instagram as well. You can find me searching those on Facebook, but primarily on Instagram. It's a lot of health content and feel better content primarily. I don't use it a ton otherwise, but if you need some tips or you're hurting somewhere, I can hook you up.
I am. I'll be following.
Yeah, you follow right along, send me a message, and I'll make a video to help you out with whatever's going on.
Because perimenopause is great.
Oh, we can have a long chat. Yeah, we can talk. I have all the tips for you. Where can we find you?
I'm Corinne Stevens 1. That's my personal Instagram. And then actually my husband and I have a podcast too called The Friday Night Life. And so, and it's the Friday Night Life on Instagram, Facebook. I think it's TFNL podcast on Twitter. My husband kind of runs that one. I do more the Facebook and IG account, but yeah, come follow.
What's with coaches and Twitter? That's like,
I know.
Okay on Twitter.
But yeah, that's my husband's cup of tea. I kind of let him take over that part, and I'm the picture. I like pictures.
Show me the pictures.
I don't really know what my Instagram is, but I am going to plug my book. If anybody's interested, I'm at a football game. It's just like a seek and find kind of thing. And it could be different every field they're at. It's just, can you find 5 triangles? Can you find some stripes? What about a mascot? And kind of teaches them stuff. It's on Amazon. I'm at a football game. Yep. I've got a basketball one coming out, hopefully before basketball season. We'll see if that has time for that. But anyway.
It's just such a great idea, Jamie. I wish we had that when the trips were little, especially my girls. They would have been all over that book. Oh.
Well, I wish I had it when mine were little too. Everybody's mad that I didn't write it sooner. I said, well,
you should have known.
Although as an older mom, I have taken it to the games and shared it with the younger moms, and they've enjoyed that. They're like, "Thank you." So still useful in my world.
Yeah.
Good. And I do have another book. I didn't grab it, but it's just a children's book. It's called Have You Ever Seen a Noopadoop? And it promotes creativity with kids and kind of making them find their artistic side. And I get to go do school visits and stuff for that. And it's a lot of fun too. It's on Amazon also. Have you ever seen a Noopadoop?
A Noopadoop. It's one of my favorite kid books to read, and just it's playful and it's fun and it's hard not to laugh while you're reading it. So
yeah, it's fun.
It's our own little Dr. Seuss, Jamie Simpson.
No.
I am Lindsay_Harvey on Instagram. I don't have like a major presence. I just post my life, all the things, my boys, and I just follow all my friends that do amazing things, like the Friday Night Live podcast. And Jamie and her books.
all the shout outs.
No, I don't have one. I'm old. I just scroll Facebook and TikTok and do.
Hey, you're on TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok, so you haven't been there.
I just take my kids to all their events and have to sit there and keep myself entertained while they're practicing.
I love it. Well, thank you all so much for being here. It's super exciting. This has been the Coaching 101 podcast, the Wives Takeover edition. We want to thank you for being a listener of the Coaching 101 podcast. We hope you'll join us next week as we continue to make the complex more simple. Please consider subscribing to the show so you'll always know when the new episodes are out. We'll leave you with this. Oh, wait, Jamie has a task. I about forgot. We about messed up, guys.
Uh-oh.
It's not my role. Today's lesson. There has to be a lesson of the day.
A lesson. And
What not to do as a coach's wife.
Yeah, what not to do. I am very strongly opinionated about this. We do not go to social media to air our issues or our upsetness, or social media is not the place for anyone to go and complain about stuff. So it's hard as a coach's wife to step back and not say, well, that's not the whole story. That's not even half of the story. And so don't respond to anything on social media. That's what not to do as a coach's wife.
Got to tie your hands up instead of biting your tongue.
Yes.
Yeah, don't respond. Just turn it off.
Put the phone down. We're right back to
phone.
one of our other comments of the day. Put the phone away. Okay, we'll leave you with this. It's hard to beat someone who never gives up. No matter the situation, find a way.